What if I told you there are silent predators living inside your 401k or IRA? You can't see them, and you probably don't even know they exist. But they are there, day after day, taking a bite out of the nest egg you've worked your entire life to build. And these aren't small bites. We're talking about bites so big they can quietly siphon hundreds of thousands of dollars from your future. For many seniors, this isn't a bad dream. It's happening right now. You've done everything right. You sacrificed, you saved, you diligently put money away for decades, trusting it would be there for you. You weathered market crashes and rode waves of uncertainty, all for a secure and dignified retirement. But the very system designed to help you has a dark, hidden underbelly. It's a world of complex documents, confusing jargon, and a series of seemingly small fees that, when compounded over time, act like a terminal illness for your savings. Today, we're pulling back the curtain. We're turning on the lights and exposing these predators for what they are. This isn't going to be another dry technical video. We're going to break it down, step by step, in plain English. We are going on a mission together to find, identify, and eliminate the 7 hidden fees that are stealing your retirement. By the end of this video, you will have a clear, actionable plan to fight back, protect your money, and reclaim the future you've worked so hard for. Let's get started. The difference in fees between 401k plans can be staggering. While extreme cases exist, it's not uncommon for one plan to have costs several times higher than another for nearly identical services. Now think about this. What if I told you that a single, seemingly insignificant 1% fee could reduce your final nest egg by hundreds of thousands of dollars? A Forbes analysis showed that a 1% fee could cost an investor with a long career about $1.5 million. That's a quarter of their potential wealth gone, vanished into the pockets of financial institutions without you ever writing a check or even seeing a bill. This is the reality for millions, and today, we're going to make sure you're not one of them. We're exposing the 7 hidden fees quietly draining your future and, more importantly, what you can do about it starting right now. 1. The first predator, administrative fees. Let's begin with the most foundational fee, the one that's often dismissed as a minor annoyance, but sets the stage for all the others. This is the administrative fee. Think of your 401k or IRA plan like a country club. The administrative fee is the basic membership due you pay just to have access. These fees cover the costs of running the plan itself, record keeping, accounting, mailing statements, ensuring government compliance, and maintaining the website you use. They are the nuts and bolts of the whole system. On the surface, this sounds perfectly reasonable. Of course, there are costs to running a complex financial plan. The danger isn't that these fees exist, it's their variability and how they're hidden. These fees can be structured as a flat fee, like $40 a year, or as a percentage of your total assets. A percentage-based fee might be 0.1% or 0.3% of your entire balance deducted every single year. Here's where the trap is sprung. You might think, 0.3%? That's nothing. But that's exactly what they want you to think. Let's imagine you've built a nest egg of $500,000. A 0.3% administrative fee is $1,500 every single year. That's $1,500 that is no longer in your account, no longer growing, no longer compounding. Over 20 years of retirement, that's $30,000 in fees alone, not even counting the growth you lost. The scale of these fees can be shocking. Small companies often get the worst deals, with plans that might have total administrative fees exceeding 1%. Meanwhile, large corporations can negotiate much lower fees, sometimes below 0.5%. This means two people with the exact same amount saved could pay wildly different amounts for the same service, just based on who their employer is. It's a hidden penalty for working at a smaller business. So, how do you find this predator? The first place to look is your plan's annual fee disclosure document. By law, your plan provider must send this to you every year. It's probably one of those thick packets you get and set aside. Don't. It's a treasure map to where your money is going. Look for terms like administrative fee, record-keeping fee, or plan servicing fee. You can also find it on your quarterly statements, though you may have to hunt for it. If you can't find it, call your plan administrator and ask directly, "What are the total administrative and record-keeping fees I am paying, both as a flat dollar amount and as a percentage of my assets?" Make them give you a number. You have a right to know. The solution here is awareness. While you can't typically change the admin fees of your current 401k, understanding them is the first critical step. This knowledge becomes incredibly powerful when you leave your job. If your fees are high, rolling your money into a low-cost IRA becomes a much more attractive option, a move that could save you thousands over your retirement. 2. The apex predator: investment fees and expense ratios. If administrative fees are the membership dues, then investment fees are the silent predator that follows you everywhere. This is, without a doubt, the single largest and most destructive fee you will face. It's called the expense ratio. Every single mutual fund or ETF you invest in has an expense ratio. This fee covers the fund's operating costs, like paying the portfolio managers and their research teams. This fee isn't a bill. It's far more insidious. It's skimmed directly from your investment returns every day before you ever see them. It's expressed as a percentage of the assets you have in that fund. Imagine your nest egg as a bucket you're trying to fill with water. Every day the market makes it rain. The expense ratio is a small, almost invisible hole in the bottom of that bucket. A low-cost index fund, which just tracks an index like the S&P 500, might have an expense ratio of 0.05%, a tiny pinprick. But an actively managed fund, where a manager tries to beat the market, can have expense ratios of 1%, 1.5%, or even over 2%. Over 30 or 40 years, that seemingly small leak can drain a third or more of your entire bucket. Let's do the math, and I want you to really absorb this. Say you have $100,000 invested in a low-cost fund charging 0.05%. You're paying just $50 a year. In a fund charging 1.5%, you are paying $1,500 a year. That's a difference of $1,450 every single year. Compounded over time, this difference can cost you more than the value of a house. So, why would anyone pay these high fees? The fund managers argue their expertise will generate returns that more than make up for the fee. But the evidence overwhelmingly shows this is rarely true. A study by S&P Global found that over a 10-year period, more than 70% of actively managed large-cap funds failed to beat their own benchmark index. You are often paying a premium price for subpar performance. So, how do you find this apex predator? This is crucial. Log into your 401k or IRA provider's website. Find the list of funds you're invested in and click on each one. You are looking for a number called the expense ratio, sometimes listed as total operating expenses. If you can't find it easily, look for a link to the fund's prospectus. Open it and use the search function, Ctrl+F, for expense ratio or shareholder fees. This will take you to a table that breaks down every fee the fund charges. Your action plan is simple. Go through every fund you own and write down its expense ratio. Any fund with an expense ratio over 1% should be a red flag. Anything over 0.5% deserves serious scrutiny. Compare these to low-cost index fund alternatives in your plan. Switching from high-cost to to low-cost funds is one of the most powerful financial moves you can make. It usually only takes a few clicks and can literally change your retirement outcome by hundreds of thousands of dollars. 3. The parasite fee, 12b1 fees. Now we venture deeper to a fee that is truly parasitic. It's a fee you pay out of your returns for the sole purpose of the mutual fund advertising itself to other people. It's called the 12b1 fee. The name itself, 12b1, sounds technical and obscure on purpose. It comes from the SEC rule that allows mutual funds to charge it. And here's what it does. It takes your money to pay for marketing and distribution costs. This includes commissions to brokers, ads, and glossy brochures. Let me be clear. You are paying the fund to convince other people to invest in it. This provides little to no direct benefit to you as a current shareholder and actively harms you by reducing your returns. The original justification in the 1980s was that marketing would attract more investors, grow the fund, and achieve economies of scale that would lower costs for everyone. As one source bluntly puts it, this has yet to be proven. In reality, while 12b1 fees help funds gather more assets, shareholders rarely see any benefit. These fees aren't a separate line item. They are baked into the fund's expense ratio. So when you see an expense ratio of 1.2%, part of that could be this parasitic 12b1 fee. Legally, these fees can be as high as 1% of your assets annually. How do you find this parasite and starve it? Just like the expense ratio, the 12b1 fee is required to be disclosed in the fund's prospectus. This is your weapon. Log into your account. Pull up the prospectus for each fund you own and go to the fee table. You will see a line item explicitly labeled 12b1 fee. If you see a number there other than 0, you are paying this fee. The solution is simple. Avoid funds that charge a 12b1 fee. There is absolutely no reason for you to pay for a fund's marketing. There are thousands of excellent, low-cost funds and ETFs that have no 12b1 fees. By choosing them, you cut off this parasite at the source and keep that money where it belongs, in your account, working for you. We're about halfway through, and if you're finding this information valuable, take a second to hit that subscribe button. Our goal here is to give you the clear, actionable information you need to protect your wealth. By subscribing, you won't miss our future videos on critical topics like tax optimization and Social Security strategies. Okay, let's get back to the next hidden fee. 4. The transactional predators, loads and service fees. Now we move from the silent drains to the fees that strike when you make a specific move. These are the transactional predators, sales loads, and individual service fees. Let's start with sales loads. A load is just a fancy word for a sales commission you pay either when you buy or sell shares of a mutual fund. A front-end load, often in Class A shares, is a commission you pay right off the top if you invest $10,000 into a fund with a 5% front-end load. $500 is immediately skimmed off and paid to the broker. Your investment starts at only $9,500. You've lost 5% before it has had a single day to grow. A back-end load, often in Class B shares, is a commission you pay when you sell. This fee is often on a sliding scale. If you sell within the first year, you might pay a 5% commission. If you wait 5 years, it might drop to 0. This is designed to lock you into the fund, even if it's performing poorly. It's a financial handcuff. In today's world, with thousands of fantastic no-load funds available, there is almost no reason for an individual investor to pay a sales load. The second type of transactional predator is the individual service fee. These are charges by your 401k plan for specific actions. The most common is a loan origination fee. Many 401k plans let you borrow from your account, but they often charge you a fee of $75 or more just to process the paperwork. Other fees can include charges for hardship withdrawals or for processing distributions when you retire. How do you find these predators? For sales loads, the fund prospectus is your guide. In the fee table, you will see maximum sales charge, load on purchases, or deferred sales charge, load. If you see any percentage other than 0, it's a load fund. For individual service fees, check your plan's annual fee disclosure. The solution is straightforward. First, make a hard and fast rule. Never buy a mutual fund with a sales load. Second, be extremely cautious about taking loans from your 401k. Not only do you face fees, but if you leave your job, the loan often becomes due immediately and the money was out of the market, missing potential growth. Treat your 401k like a fortress. By minimizing transactions, you can starve these service fees. 5. The deceptive arrangement, revenue sharing fees. We now arrive at one of the most complex and murky fees in the system. This operates in the shadows, a behind-the-scenes deal that can make your entire 401k plan more expensive without you knowing. It's called revenue sharing. Imagine your 401k provider is a grocery store with limited shelf space. What if a cereal brand said, "Hey, give us a prime spot on your shelves and we'll give you a secret kickback on every box we sell"? That kickback is revenue sharing. In the 401k world, mutual funds pay a portion of their fees back to the plan provider as a reward for being included in the investment menu. This is a kickback, often funded by those 12b1 fees we talked about. Why is this so dangerous? First, it creates a massive conflict of interest. Your plan provider has a duty to select the best, most cost-effective funds for you. But if they receive kickbacks from high-cost funds, they have an incentive to offer those instead of cheaper, better alternatives. The provider benefits, but you get stuck paying higher fees. Second, it makes it incredibly difficult to see the true cost. The provider might claim their services are cheap or even free, but they're getting paid through these hidden arrangements, funded by the high expense ratios you pay. Finding revenue sharing is tough for an individual, but there are clues. Your annual fee disclosure document, the 408B2, should disclose any indirect compensation or revenue sharing. Another red flag is a 401k plan that claims to have low administrative fees, but only offers high expense ratio funds. What's the solution? You can't stop these arrangements yourself, but you can protect yourself by focusing on the ultimate cost to you, the expense ratio. By choosing the absolute lowest cost index funds in your plan, you are almost always selecting funds with little or no revenue sharing. Also, knowledge is power. If you and your colleagues see that your plan is filled with high-cost funds, you can raise the issue with your HR department. Companies face legal pressure over excessive fees, and asking questions can prompt them to find a better deal for everyone. All right, what we've just covered is complex, and frankly, it can be infuriating. You might be wondering if these fees are draining your own account. That feeling is justified, but concern without action doesn't protect you. If you want professional clarity on what you're paying, some services offer a no-obligation fee analysis. They can help you identify exactly what you're paying in administrative fees, expense ratios, and other costs. This isn't a sales pitch. It's about getting the data you need to make informed decisions. The peace of mind that comes from knowing is invaluable. If you're interested, you can find links to these kinds of services. Take control. Get the facts. 6. The set it and forget it trap. High-cost target date funds. Our next hidden fee lurks inside what's supposed to be the simplest investment ever, the Target Date Fund, TDF. TDFs have become the default investment for millions. You pick a fund with a year close to your retirement date, like the 2045 fund, and it automatically shifts from aggressive to conservative as you get closer to that date. It's a set it and forget it solution. The hidden danger: simple and automatic, can come at a hidden price. Many TDFs are a fund of funds. They don't buy stocks and bonds directly. They buy a collection of other mutual funds, each with its own expense ratio. This creates layers of fees, like a Russian nesting doll, and you're paying for every single layer. For example, an actively managed TDF might have an expense ratio of 0.75%, while an index-based TDF might charge just 0.16%. That difference of 0.59% a year is enormous and could cost you hundreds of thousands over a career. You're paying a premium for simplicity you could easily replicate for less. Not all TDFs are equal. Worse, they don't always provide the safety they promise. In the 2008 financial crisis, many 2010 target date funds lost over 30% of their value for people just 2 years from retirement. And in the 2022 bear market, the average 2025 fund lost over 15% for those on the cusp of retiring. The set it and forget it approach can lead to a nasty surprise. How do you avoid this trap? First, investigate your TDF. Find its expense ratio. Is it 0.2% or 1.02%? Second, look at what it holds. Are the underlying funds low-cost index funds or expensive managed funds? The solution for many is to build your own TDF. It sounds complicated, but it's not. A TDF just holds a U.S. stock fund, an international stock fund, and a bond fund. You can almost certainly find those 3 types of low-cost index funds in your 401k. By choosing them yourself, you can replicate the same strategy at a fraction of the cost, with potential savings of hundreds of thousands of dollars. 7. The rollover ruse, the hidden cost of convenience. Our final hidden fee ambushes you when you retire or change jobs and face the decision of what to do with your old 401k. This is the rollover ruse. The financial industry spends billions on marketing to convince you to roll your money into one of their IRAs. Here's the trap. This move can be like walking from a regulated fortress into the Wild West. While many low-cost IRAs exist and can be cheaper than some 401k plans, the risk of being sold high-fee products is real. The ruse lies in the difference between institutional and retail fund shares. Your 401k, as a large group plan, often has access to low-cost institutional shares. IRAs often offer retail shares, which can have much higher fees. A study by the Pew Charitable Trusts found that for stock funds, median retail shares were 0.34 percentage points more expensive than their institutional counterparts, a 37% higher fee. Let's say in your 401k, you owned the XYZ institutional fund with a 0.4% expense ratio. An advisor convinces you to roll it into an IRA and puts you in the exact same fund, but now it's the XYZ retail fund, which has a 0.9% expense ratio and maybe a sales load. You just got tricked into paying more for nothing. Billions are lost this way every year. So, how do you navigate this transition safely? It requires a careful approach. First, don't immediately roll over your 401k. Take a breath. Analyze your current 401k. What are its administrative fees? What are the expense ratios of its best funds? If you have access to excellent, ultra-low-cost institutional funds, leaving your money right where it is might be your best and cheapest option. Second, if you do roll it over, you must be in control. The goal is to move to a low-cost IRA at a reputable brokerage. Open a self-directed IRA. Your mission is to find one with no annual maintenance fees and access to a wide range of low-cost, no-load index funds and ETFs. Third, when you execute the rollover, insist on a direct rollover, where the money is sent from your old provider to your new one. This avoids tax withholding issues. Be skeptical of any free help offered during this process. By comparing the fees in your 401k to a truly low-cost IRA that you control, you can sidestep this final ruse and make sure your life savings transition safely and cheaply. We have journeyed deep today. We've exposed 7 of the most dangerous predators stalking your retirement savings: administrative fees, investment expense ratios, parasitic 12b1 fees, transactional loads, deceptive revenue sharing, high-cost target date funds, and the rollover ruse. It's easy to feel angry. It can feel like the game is rigged, and in some ways, it is. The system thrives on complexity and the assumption that you're not paying attention. But today, you chose to pay attention. The most important takeaway is this: you are your own best financial advocate. No one will ever care more about your money than you do. You cannot afford to be passive. The good news is that the power to change your future is entirely in your hands. The steps we've outlined aren't complex financial wizardry. They are simple, direct actions. It starts with grabbing your account statements, logging into your account, and looking up the expense ratios of your funds. It means asking direct questions and demanding clear answers. A 1% difference in fees may not sound like much, but over your retirement, it can be the difference between security and struggle. It's not just about numbers on a page. It's about the quality of the life you will live. You've worked for 30, 40, or even 50 years to build this nest egg. Don't let it be quietly eroded in the final stretch. Take the knowledge you've gained today and put it into action. Hunt down these hidden fees. Starve the predators. Your future self will thank you for it. Thank you for joining me. If this has been helpful, please share it with a friend or family member, and don't forget to subscribe for more content to help you protect and grow your wealth. Take control and build the retirement you deserve.